Holy crap, it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you're distracting that referee, 'cause the babyface has your wrestler pinned. Then you get punched to the ring apron, and you realize all the trouble you're in on the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. One more, you got the guy in an abdominal stretch, and you grab the rope for extra leverage, and you get a concussion from the angry Russian. You get paid with a diet soft beverage on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. Clap, 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 clap. What's going on, Bob Squad? We're talking about the Hulu edition. Hulu edition. Not limited enough commercial interruption. They don't limit them nearly enough. August 8th, 2022 on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa! Yay, hang on. I got a sniffle. So I just sneezed a few times. It was dusty, whatever. What's going on, Bob Squad? How are you? How's tricks? How's the kids? Some weather we're having. What do you say? What do you know? Tip the veal and try the waitress. Like a champ, like an animal, like a beast, like a savage. It is off the hook. It is off the wall. It is off the chain. Under the table, under the weather, under the radar. Hogging the cover, staining his sheets, pissing blood and bleeding piss. It's the hardest part of the ring. If you're bleeding piss, don't see a doctor. Because even if you have a full-time job, your health care is probably really bad. What is the point? What is the point, Bob Squad? I don't know the point. But I understood most of the points of this program. The one thing I do understand before I jump into it is that when the fan is off and the window is closed, like right now, and you are sweating bullets 2 minutes into your program, and you need to cool off, what's the best way to do it? Water and stay properly hydrated? I don't think so. Get a decent microphone so you could leave stuff open? Nah, I'm not going to do that. Nope, I'm going to enjoy Dr. Pepper Cream Soda Zero Sugar. That's right, the same great taste and delicious taste of Dr. Pepper Cream Soda, but this time with none of the sugar, none of the calories, and the same delicious taste. And what you can do right now, Bob Squad, go to coca-cola.com/Dr. Pepper, /cream soda, /0 sugar. Enter the promo code Bob Squad and nothing happens. Why would you do that? Who buys their soda online? Did I say that already? I think I did. Why am I sniffly? I'm only sniffly when I record these, by the way. I don't know why that is. It's the only time of the day I'm sniffly. Why is that? I took half the notes because I got tired and my book was in the other room. But I'll say this before we jump right in. I know on the internet, all the kids are saying, oh, Triple H, I bet you he's going to make this change. He's going to make that change. He's going to bring in this person. He's going to bring in that person. Yada, 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 yada. That's all well and good. He's going to get rid of these words that you can say these real words again, and maybe the camera cuts and Kevin Dunn and blah, 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 blah. We know Johnny Ace is out as of this weekend, which is great. But here's one thing I hope Triple H never changes. I hope forever and ever the show opens with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant, and it did. It did. Hulk Hogan picked him up. All 505 pounds of that nasty, sweaty, stinky giant, as he liked to say. I don't know why he always commented on his odor, but maybe that was later on. I think that was the 90s when with Paul White was the giant in who cares? Anyway, that's not important right now. What is important is that John Cena's melodic voice tells us that we watched too much of this crap then. We're watching too much of this crap now. And we're going to be watching too much of this crap forever. Just forever. And he is correct. But I'm watching it, and for the second week in a row, the opening segment is Bayley and her friends. And why are they not called KaiNSky? Like Kai and Ty. It's Dakota Kai, it's Io Sky now. Call the tag team, because the two of them tag team later in this program. The team should just be called KaiNSky. I don't know why. They're not KaiNSky. Tell me why. They're not KaiNSky. Anyway, Bayley is wonderful here. This is such a good 2 weeks in a row. The opening segment is the best, and Bailey and her friends knock it out of the goddamn park. I love this. Obviously, Bailey is leading the charge here. Dakota and Io say very little. I know Io does speak some English, but I don't think she speaks a whole ton. You can kind of see she laughs when Bailey laughs. She's kind of like looking and waiting for the cue to say her thing and yada yada. But they're still using her well. They're using her as that kind of unpredictable daredevil assassin type of character, which which is fine. And Dakota got a few lines in here, and she had great facial expressions, great bitch looks from Dakota. I thought Bailey was wonderful here. She caught herself. She realized she called Dakota Kai Dakota Sky and messed up because they have similar last names. And she immediately caught herself and said, Cleveland, I know I made a mistake. I know it's Dakota Kai, but you idiots can keep quiet. And I can't think with you idiots. And she kept calling them idiots. And it was just wonderful for her just to be so mean to them. I really enjoyed that. Just tell them what pieces of garbage they are in Cleveland. I just loved every second of it. Because she's a heel. And then the good guys eventually come out. Bianca and Asuka and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss has that I would rather go home face during her entrance of all times, which is usually your big... Should be every wrestler's favorite moment, really. I mean, what's the bigger ego boost than that? Than your entrance. Asuka looks like she is enthused and just down for anything, no matter what they do. And Asuka dancing to Bianca's music is hilarious too, by the way. Just notice that. Asuka's does but yeah, Alexa looks like she wants to go home. Yes, I mean that's how it comes across on TV. I don't know. Okay. There's a big brawl. The 6 of them brawl, and they go to the break. They go to the break during the brawl, which was great. Makes me wonder. Then I have Hulu, so when I come back, I don't know if I'm seeing the very next segment. So I don't know if the subsidization of the brawl was aired or not. They probably just went to a segment or whatever. But they took me right to Seth Rollins and Angelo Dawkins. Okay. I'm loving the Street Profits don't feel stale for the last 2 or 3 weeks. As they were stale for a long time, but now they're growing. They're not just doing the same thing. The smoke catchphrase is a little annoying, but it probably sells merch. I don't really know. Dawkins on his own looked great. He went shirtless on this one, just glistening off his pecs. Okay, stop. No, Angelo Dawkins in singles was really good here. And they showed the difference of the personalities. Montez Ford was getting too heated. He got thrown out at one point. Seth Rollins was playing up to Montez's temper. Montez doesn't return until the very end. Eventually, Dawkins loses, but damn, great job by Seth, because he made Dawkins look great. And Dawkins is very good, but I'm just saying Seth was working, and Dawkins wins in defeat. Seth does beat him, because he's clearly the more experienced single superstar and everything else. He's been a top guy for so long, which is the right thing to do. But if, over the next couple of weeks, one of the 2 Street Profits actually does beat him, instead of just beating him out of nowhere the first time, I'd be down with that. Because Seth can lose forever and bounce back from anything anyway. Yeah, it's interesting to see where this is going to go, and that's the thing. They have my interest. To me, the Street Profits right now are more interesting than Usos, and Usos are the champs. So, this is one of 3 very good matches on this program. The first of the really good matches is set up backstage. We have the Mysterios and Edge. We have the Honey Nut Mysterios, Dominic and Ray, and they have a long package, a long, thick blue vein package. They smack in your face. And they shove that package right in your mouth while the dental appliance is prying it open, and you're coming to from the drugs that your weird horny dentist gave you as he's zipping up his pants. Was that necessary? Nope, it wasn't. Anyway, Dominic, Ray, and Edge. So Edge tries to apologize for accidentally giving the spear to Dominic. Dominic fakes an acceptance, but then he shoves Edge, and Ray gets in the middle. This is my familia, Dominic, it's an accident, yada, yada, yada. And Dominic kind of throws like a kind of a baby's tantrum, even though he's like 25. He kind of says, well, I don't know why you're picking this guy over me, and he walks away. And Ray has to get ready to wrestle Finn. I'll say this. A little silly, probably, but Edge and Ray were very believable here. And we know, the audience knows, both Edge and Ray are fathers and they are adults. So at least the adults, the real adults in the room, were acting like real adults. And okay, so the 20-something's a little bratty. Okay, not that big a deal. And he wasn't so dislikable, whiny bratty. He was just a little... You could just tell they were playing it like, hey, listen, he's young and dumb, but he's a good kid at heart. And that's fine. That's a character. So that's good. Dominic was was definitely a bit wooden here, but it's the best he's been. I don't think the fans hate Dominic. I think they give him a lot of leeway because they love Ray so much. So it wasn't the end of the world. And it was brief. That's the other thing, too, I've noticed, which the new... I'm going to call it the hospital era, since Triple H took over, because you can say hospital now. It's the hospital era. And these things are getting a little shorter, which is good. A blonde lady interviews another blonde lady, Dana Brooke, and Tamina. And no one is meaner than Tamina, as we all know, which I love that. I love that they use that. And there's going to be a tag team women's, the first round of the tournament for the new tag team women's champions. And they wrestle Team KaiNSky. They should be KaiNSky. And this is the first time Dakota Kai wrestles on Raw. And Io Shirai, Io Sky, her second match. And they do defeat Dana and Tamina. This wasn't bad. It was, I've never seen, because I have the Hulu edition. This is the only time I've seen Dana and Tamina on it. Probably in 2022. So I haven't seen them wrestle in that long. Tamina up on that top turnbuckle, she was hanging out a long time. But when she gets pissed, she has a pissed off mom face. She has a very good angry mom face, and I like it. It's scary. So, because you can still believe, you can still believe she's a bad bitch, which is good. Yeah, she was a little wobbly and taking her time up there. It was what it was. Anything else notable? Dakota got some kicks in. I thought Io Sky was better. I have to get used to that. Io Sky was better in this than she was last week in her singles against Bianca. Of course, back last week she was in a singles match against the champ, so she's not getting that much in. But Io Sky was better in this, and she hit the moonsault at the end, and she used to overshoot it or just undershoot it and hit everyone with her knees. But no, she hit it pretty clean on Tamina. So her and Dakota won this thing, which was obvious. Okay. So here's where the notebook was in the other room, and I stopped taking notes. Okay. I completely skipped over Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Okay, let's go back. After the Edge failed apology to Dominic storms off. Rey Mysterio and Finn Balor have this wonderful match. This wonderful, wonderful, wonderful match. Back and forth. Some fanciness and flashiness, as you would expect, but it wasn't so egregiously unbelievable and dance routine-like. Rey Mysterio, I love this. He did a thing where Finn gives him the sunset flip. Rey keeps rolling out and does like a short missile drop kick to Finn's head, and Finn is in sitting position. And almost everyone misses with this kick, or hands are up. Sorry, this is going to sound sexist, but the girls do put their hands up on those all the time. Because they like to do those rollouts and the missile drop kicks a lot more. But Rey does it to Finn, and his feet touch, but it didn't look like... he extends, and then the feet tap. It's not the feet are right in front of his head, and then Rey extends and kicks through the guy's skull. It's not like that. So, made contact. Something to sell. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Lots of great back and forth here. At some point, I guess Damian Priest before the match challenged Edge to wrestle on Raw next week, which I assume will happen because Edge is a babyface. Why is he not going to accept? But I was under the impression that Edge... He's never wrestled on Raw since his return 2.5 years ago. I kind of thought he had a no-wrestle on regular TV deal. But, well, maybe he's doing a favor. Maybe they attack him, but maybe it doesn't happen. They jump him beforehand. I don't know. But anyway, the announcers do a good job of telling the story of this match. Rey is distracted. Finn Balor's a top world-class competitor. Rey is distracted. Rey keeps looking over his shoulder. hoping Dominic will come out to ringside like he was hoping Dominic would and get over Dominic's frustration or with Edge or whatever. At some point, Edge comes out. I guess Priest was interfering, I forget, but most likely. And Edge jumps Priest and just chases Priest into the audience, which is fine. People got to see Edge, which is cool. And Rhea Ripley comes out carrying Dominic on her shoulder. And he is beaten and bloodied and battered, and Ray is distracted. And Ray loses with the coup de Gracie from Finn Balor. And then you see the two, father and son, on one at the ramp and one in the ring, selling and holding their innards. And heat on Judgment Day, so, okay, cool. Heat on Rhea Ripley, if anybody else. And then we did the Dana and Tamina versus the KaiNSky. So what happened after that? Let me think. Okay. Yes, we go to Tommaso. Oh, is he Tommaso again? No. He's still Ciampa. He wrestles Bobby Lashley for the U.S. Championship, and this was another wonderful match. I really enjoyed this. Which were the two I really... Yeah, Seth and Angelo and Dominic. Seth and Angelo and Ray and Finn I really liked. And then this was the other one I really liked. The third one I really liked. What happened? I forget now. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, guys. Sorry. Ciampa wrestles Lashley. Okay? And it's hard when the babyface is so huge and muscular. He's twice the size of the heel. And Ciampa is jacked and super muscular, but I think he's half the size of Lashley. I don't think he's an incredibly tall guy either. But Ciampa comes to the ring with The Miz, and he's wearing Harley Race's robe. How cool is that? To steal a catchphrase from a buddy of mine, Scuba Pete. How cool is that? He likes to say that. I say that now too, out of habit. Yeah, how cool is that? He's wearing Harley Race's robe, the one they say Harley Race wore when he won, let me think. He won the NWA, or they said Harley Race was the first U.S. champion, so don't ask me who he beat to win that. Who did Harley beat to win his first NWA World Championship? Crap, I don't know. It's one of the Funks. I bet you it's one of the Funks. Terry or Dory Jr. Honestly, I have no idea. I should know that. I don't. I always get confused with the two Funks and Harley and the Briscoes, and they all kind of went, and it was one of those five, I guess. I don't really know. But anyway, he's wearing that robe, and it does, in modern times, with modern cameras, it does look like a bathrobe. I hate to say it. It does, but it's the history, and it's a shame that, I mean, Corey Graves did a good job of telling us why that was important. I'm sure it was very confusing to that audience, but it was what it was. I got it when he was walking, before he turned around and said race on it. I went, nah. But I didn't realize it was the robe. I just thought he got one like it as a nod. But when they showed the pictures of him and Race, I'm like, oh, it's the one. I'm like, oh, that's even cooler. I just thought he had one made up similar. But no, it was good. Anyway, Ciampa does a great job, as he could, of being a heel with a face twice your size, staying competitive, staying threatening. At one point, Miz is putting Ciampa's foot on a rope for him, and AJ Styles runs out. Him and The Miz fight off. And I think they ran through again later or something. There's a lot of two things going on at once type of stuff. So, I don't remember too much about it. Yeah, a lot of false finishes at the end. Ciampa was doing some of that fast pace back and forth. False finish, go for this move, go for that move, go for your finish here, do a signature here, do your signature, and do your finish. He was flying he was doing all that with Lashley, and it was cool, and people were digging it. And people were buying the fact that Ciampa might beat Lashley here. Definitely by some sort of chicanery, yeah. Because Ciampa used the distraction when Miz and AJ were fighting to take the turnbuckle off, and he hit Lashley into the buckle and everything else, and he went for that pin, and people were buying. They were buying him falsies. They were buying it, and it was really cool. Eventually, Lashley does beat him with the Hurt Lock. He taps him out. But Ciampa, just like Angelo Dawkins, won in defeat here. Ciampa looks like a much more serious competitor, just like Dawkins looks like a much more serious singles competitor. Both Dawkins and Ciampa got elevated tonight, and it was good. It was really, really good. So I'm a big Ciampa fan. My guys don't have to win all the time. I just like it when they show what they can do, and Ciampa did. Really happy to see this. What else is going on? I didn't take notes. So AJ and Miz are then shown brawling in the back, and after 5 or 6 seconds of brawling, because it would cause a commotion, a bunch of officials run over to break it up. And I like that. And you could tell since the Triple H, since the hospital era started, 2 Raws in a row, he likes brawls and pull-aparts. He does. He likes guys getting into arguments. He doesn't like 2 guys yelling at each other nose to nose with using their own catchphrases as insults or something like that, because it's just not how they act. He figures 2 athletes like Miz and AJ would hate each other and eventually start fist fighting, and they're going to keep fist fighting until people break them up. So we're not going to see 5-minute long attacks backstage, because somebody would do something eventually. And if the officials might fail to break it up, but they show up fairly quickly and they're trying. So I like that. This one was a little convenient because there were like 10 guys in suits. It seemed like probably 5 guys in suits, like all at the same time. You'd think like maybe a referee, a trainer, and then another few referees, and then a guy in a suit, and then a guy in a suit, and a guy in a suit, or a lady in a suit. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, and that leads to what I guess was supposed to be an impromptu main event. This was a little strange, but no DQ. Miz and AJ. We've seen Miz and AJ a lot in some form or fashion. It occurred to me as AJ entered, I don't think he ever got his comeuppance on Edge, but I think that's done with. Anyway, they do some kendo stick stuff, some chair stuff. Nothing to write home about, and why would I bother my mother with that information? I don't know. Ciampa runs back out, stands on the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring, just to fall backwards through a table, so someone can say they went, so they can say a table broke, and yada yada. Little nitpick. I never nitpick AJ Styles. But Miz's first chunk of heat was AJ looks at the weapons. He holds up the kendo stick, the cheer. He holds up the chair, the kind of cheer. And he goes, with his hands, a little motion. Pulls out the table. They all cheer the table. But as he took a minute to show us stuff like he's Vanna White, Miz cuts him off with a sliding drop kick or whatever the hell it is. So doesn't that make the babyface look a little stupid? Like he took way too long with that shit? But anyway, it's done is done. AJ does beat him, and as AJ beats him, there's a little disturbance in the crowd, and they're very good at showing this subtly. And there's another thing that didn't make Hulu I want to talk about in a second. Triple H likes subtlety a lot more than Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon hates subtlety. Everything's on the nose, it's in your face. This had AJ Styles celebrating. In the background, you could clearly see there were security guards dealing with an issue in the front row. And because AJ looks at it, and the announcers don't talk about it. They want to make you think you're seeing something you shouldn't see. Of course, we all know they wouldn't hold that camera shot for more than a millisecond if that were the case. But they at least don't talk about it. It's not really in the foreground. So, okay, they're trying. They're making me ask why. What's going on back there? And eventually AJ looks, and the guy they're carrying away picks his head up, and it's Dexter Lumis from NXT. Vince brought Dexter. Gee. Are we recording? I got a bad message. Dexter Lumis. Yes, I was never a big Dexter Lumis guy. I have to repeat some of this. Sorry. I always thought they took him to comedy way too quickly in NXT. They needed a little time to build him up. Let's get behind him. Blah, 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 blah. So that was a subtle thing. And let me go quickly because I think something's goofy with my free space on my hard drive here. This did not make Hulu, but I guess there was a Kevin Owens interview when Kevin Owens returned and said some stuff, which is great. But in the background, I guess they showed Doudrop and Nikki ASH looking at some kind of car accident or a car that ran into a pillar in a parking lot or something like that. And they didn't acknowledge it, because I saw the clip on Twitter. They didn't acknowledge it. They just let the people think they were seeing something they shouldn't. And again, that one was like really weird. Like, why would they leave? They could shoot anywhere. Why would they do that? But, so I guess we can see that's the thing Triple H likes. He likes that old subtlety of let's let the people think they saw something they shouldn't. And I think that's great. We need that. We need a lot of that. Makes the show interesting. It's still a 3-hour show. He's doing the best he can. There you go. So before we run out, and it's a sauna in this apartment, which is great because I'm trying to lose my weight. So just existing, I'm losing tons of sweat. So I thank you very much, Bob Squad. Thank you always for joining me. It is much appreciated. This is episode 181, I want to say. I think that's right. So within a month or two, we're going to hit 200. How about that? It's coming. And